All right. I think we're live. Good evening, everyone. Hope you're all well this evening. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Wissam Hadid, and I'll be taking you through another Tuesday evening power flow. I've started an Ardha Chandrasana half moon pose sequence, so I'll be going through that again today. And as Claire just mentioned earlier, after some special consideration, we've decided to make the class 45 minutes and then conclude with a meditation at the end. So I'll invite you all to join me in the meditation at the end. Otherwise, I will also invite you to slowly come out of Shavasana and hopefully see you next week. So to start off with, we'll begin with just a bit of silence and stillness, a quick opening meditation, coming into a comfortable seated position. If you have any blocks, it's good to lift the hips above the sitting bones. And then once you've come to a comfortable seat, just taking a deep inhale and a sigh out, allowing you to lower the gaze and slowly close the eyes here. Slowly arriving onto the mat. And if you find yourself recapping the day or feeling any remnants from the day, just continuing to breathe and drawing your attention to the mat. As you arrive on your seat, start to soften the facial features from the eyelids, the jaw, the tongue, and begin to take some deeper breaths here. Inhaling to expand the belly, and exhaling out the nose. Continuing like this for a few rounds. Using every breath to draw your mind to the present moment. To link the mind and the body together. Couple more inhalations and exhalations like this. And then you start to feel equally grounded on the sitting bones, lengthening along the spine, drawing the shoulder blades back, creating a slight tilt along the neck, allowing that breath to flow through. And from here, connecting the palms together in front of the heart, an Anjali Mudra, salutation to welcome you into your practice today. Taking an inhale and a sigh out. And now starting to build energy from the shoulders, rubbing the palms together, creating some friction and some heat. Speeding up this process now. And then placing the palms over the closed eyelids. And taking a moment here to breathe in and out. And allowing your eyelids to flutter open slowly. As you lower the arms down. And we begin by removing any props and creating space along the mat. And then just heading into a child's pose to start off with. If you're following the playlist, then putting on the playlist, things elemental flow. And in your child's pose, displaying out the arms in front of you, forehead to the ground, sink hips towards the heels. Continuing to take those deep inhalations and exhalations here. As you find that space within in this child's pose. Inhaling. And exhaling. To raise the gaze and come into an all fours position. Shoulders above the wrist, hips above the knees, neutral spine here. And just using this to awaken the spine with a few cat-cows as you lower the belly, raise the chest, lift the gaze, breathing in. And on an exhale, rounding the back, pressing the mat away from you, gliding the tailbone down. Inhale, lowering the belly, raising the gaze. And exhale, rounding the back, gliding the tailbone down, chin to chest. Continuing to go through a few rounds of your cat-cows. And as you do so, just starting to navigate the body from the crown of the head right down to the toes. And as you navigate, you might start to notice any sweet spots or any tight spots. You can then move dynamically, addressing those sections, those regions of the body. You can shift the hips back or play around with the wrist. Shifting the position of the hands, stretching out the arms, or just staying still. Finding what your body needs today. And then after a couple of breaths, switching over to the other side to balance your movements. Noticing if it feels different on the other side. Still flowing with your breath. Awakening the body with these movements. And this time starting to slow down. And as you slow down the movements, you're coming back to a neutral tabletop position. And then from your neutral tabletop position, you can start to tuck the toes behind you, lift the knees, and head into your first downward facing dog, lifting the hips towards the ceiling as you press the mat away from you with the palms. Keeping this down dog dynamic, always good to keep the first one dynamic as you bend one knee, extend the other. You can twist the torso to the armpits. Still scanning from the crown of the head to the toes. Still breathing into the belly. Exhaling out the nose. And then if you like, you can stay still in your down dog, or from this place of stillness, you can lift the right palm and place it onto the left ankle, using this to twist the torso over to the left. And take a breath in here. And exhale to release, coming back to a downward facing dog. And then moving over to the other side, you can lift the left palm, placing it onto the right ankle, using this to twist the torso towards the right. Inhale here. And exhale, turning the palm to the front of the mat. And now preparing for some sundays as we bend the knees generously, come onto our toes and walk up to the front of the mat, landing in an Uttanasana forward fold. Reaching that crown of the head towards the mat, still moving dynamically. You can grab onto the elbows, shifting left and right. Allowing that breath to flow through as you create space along the neck. And then placing the palms down gently onto the mat, coming halfway up, Finding the right spot for you where the spine is lengthened, where the shoulder blades are drawing back, slightly just looking towards the ground, keeping that neck extended. Inhale. And exhale, placing the palms back down. And now with your next inhalation, raising the palms up, elongating the spine, lifting the arms up and overhead. And on an exhale, connecting the palms in front of the heart, Tadasana pose. And now inhalation, lifting the palms up to prepare. And on an exhale, opening up the arms and gliding down into your forward fold. Bending at the knees as much as you need to. Inhale to come halfway up. And then exhale, planting the palms down and stepping into your first high plank. So last time I demonstrated the chaturanga push-ups, so you can lower the knees if you need to for this first round. But with your chaturanga push-ups, high to low planks, you're really hugging the elbows in towards the midline, pressing the mat away from you to activate the back muscles, shifting the heels back, crown of the head comes forward. Take an in-breath, and on an out-breath, coming just a few inches off the ground, hovering there, and returning back to that high plank. Moving through this with your breath, going through 3 rounds. 3, 2, 1. And then slowly coming down again, eventually landing onto the mat, forehead to the ground. Heading up into a cobra, shifting the hands next to the chest, lifting the heart up, creating that back bend here with an inhale. And then exhale, coming back down. In breath, coming into your cobra again. Tip at the elbows, reaching back, still hugging them in towards the midline. In breath. And then on an out breath, moving through your tabletop position and landing in a downward facing dog, Ardha Mukha Svanasana pose. Taking 2 deep breaths here. 1. And now we're looking up again, bending at the knees, coming to our toes, and you can step, walk, or hop to the front of the mat, landing in a forward fold. Rising halfway up and planting the hands gently onto the mat. With your next inhalation, rising up now, fingertips reaching towards the ceiling. And Tadasana, hands in front of the heart. Lifting those palms up with an inhale, maybe creating a little back bend here. And then keeping the palms connected as you fold from the heart and through the hips, bending at the knees into your Uttanasana forward fold. Halfway up to prepare. And then with an exhale, planting the hands down and choosing if you want to go through one high to low plank or through those chaturanga push-ups. Lifting up in your cobra upward facing dog when you're done. And we'll all meet in a downward facing dog. Taking your time, going through your unique chaturanga flow. Take 3 breaths in this downward dog. 2 breaths. If you haven't already, joining us all in this downward facing dog. 1 breath. And now, for this next way, we'll all go through it on our own without my voice, allowing you to focus on your mind and your body. You can all start by lifting the gaze, bending at the knees, and then making our way to the top of the mat in a forward fold. From here, going through your unique Sane, and we'll all meet back in a downward facing dog. Still scanning the body through each and every movement. And once you've arrived in your down dog, we'll head into a child's pose. Taking your time here. And as you come into this child's pose, noticing the energy shift after gaining a bit of momentum. Still sinking those hips towards the heels. Taking 2 more breaths here. And then we'll lift the gaze again and arrive in our home base, downward facing dog. Some quick dynamic movements. Now that we've gathered some momentum. After one round of breath, coming back to a place of stillness. Externally rotating the shoulders, pressing the mat away from you. Bending the knees as much as you need to. And then from here, let's all raise the right leg in the air, extending the leg, flexing the right foot, curling the toes. And then we can bend at that right knee and open up the hip here, stacking the hips on top of each other. And just making sure that the upper body is still facing the mat, equally facing the mat. Trying to just open from the hips. Take one inhale. And then bring that right knee to the right shoulder. Coming back up, bending at the knee, opening the hip. And then bringing that knee to the chest. Rising back up, opening the hip once more. And then bringing that knee to the left tricep, holding it here. And then we'll go into a fallen triangle by extending that right leg out onto the ground, lifting the left arm up, drawing the shoulder blades back, and still pressing the mat away from you with the right palm. Take one in breath. And staying with an out breath. And now left palm comes back to the mat, lifting the right leg up in the air, 3-legged dog. And then bringing that knee to the chest again and planting the foot in between the hands, arriving in a low lunge. Just shifting and aligning in this low lunge. Front knee in line with the hip and the heel. The back leg is energized and extended. You can create space between the legs if you need more stability. And then lowering the left palm down and raising the right arm up, twisting in this low lunge. Inhale, drawing that right hip back. And then exhale, placing that palm down again, framing the front foot. And now entering a high crescent lunge as you lift the arms up, coming onto the balls of the back foot, still bending at that front knee, activating that core and gliding the tailbone down. You can stay here in stillness, again, scanning the body in your alignment, or you can create a cactus position with the arms, a 90-degree elbow, and start to go through some baby back bends with the core active to support your back by lifting the torso, creating that back bend, and then lifting the arms back up into your high crescent lunge. Still breathing. Two more breaths wherever we are. We'll all come to a place of stillness now in our high crescent lunge. Inhale. Exhale. And now let's drop that back foot down at a 90-degree angle, allowing us to open up the arms to the side of the room, landing in a warrior two, Virabhadrasana 2 pose. That left hip is drawing back, but making sure that that front knee doesn't cave in. You still want it in line with the hip and the heel. You can take a sneak peek behind you, other fingertips strong. Taking 2 breaths. One. And now we're going to play around with our warrior 2 here. This time we're going to shift it so it faces the back of the room. So first we'll come towards the side of the mat by straightening at that front knee, coming into a wide-legged stance. The whole body, the toes are facing the side of the room. And then you're switching your warrior 2 to face the back. So bending at the left knee, shifting the foot. The back foot comes at an inward angle. And now you're drawing the right hip back. And just noticing those subtle alignments with your warrior 2 as you shift in and out of it. Noticing what happens with the knee, how you shift the feet, not forgetting the fingertips. So we'll keep going through that to notice those subtle alignments. Inhaling to come into a wide-legged stance facing the side of the room. Exhale, warrior 2 facing the front of the room. Flowing with your breath now. Noticing how these small alignments, these small cues, make a big effect on your warrior 2. Going through one more round, and we'll all meet facing the front of the room. And now, as we enter a warrior 2 facing the front of the room, and then straighten that right knee as we move into a triangle pose. We're going to shift the hips back, reach forward with the front palm, and then lower the right hand towards the inside of the right leg, left arm up and overhead. Notice what's happening with the torso and the upper body here. Instead of trying to reach that bottom hand down, find space by drawing that arm up along the leg, creating space along the whole body. Lifting up. Still drawing those shoulder blades back. 2 breaths. One. And now we're coming back to warrior 2, bending at the front knee. And from here, we can reverse our warrior. Back hand on the thigh, right arm up and overhead, peeling that chest towards the ceiling for that side stretch. Inhale. And using one long exhale to come all the way down, framing the front foot in a low lunge and going through your Chaturanga Dandasana, your Vinyasa flow. Always have the option to add some Chaturanga push-ups. You can skip the Chaturanga in total and head straight to a down dog. Always observing what you need. Once you've arrived in your home base, your downward facing dog, we'll take 2 deep breaths. Inhaling, then exhaling out the mouth. One more. Out breath. And now from here, left leg raises in the air, extending here in a 3-legged dog. And then bending at that left knee to open up the hip. Again, just noticing that upper body still parallel to the mat. Inhale. And then with an exhale, left knee to left tricep. Coming back up to bend at the knee and open the hip. And using your out breath to bring the left knee to the chest. Rising up again. One more opening. And then bringing that knee to the right tricep, entering your fallen triangle. The leg extends out, right arm lifts, drawing that shoulder blade back. Really using your left hand to prop you up, taking 2 breaths. 1. And then lowering the right palm down to enter a 3-legged dog again. And then bringing the knee to the chest to plant that foot down in between the hands. Again, just setting up your alignment in this low lunge. And this time, lowering the right palm down as you lift the left arm up. Twisted low lunge here. Taking 2 breaths. Drawing that left hip back. 1. And then planting that palm back down to look up and head into your high crescent lunge. As you find your high crescent lunge here, really hugging the lower ribs in to lift along the waist, along the spine. And you have an option to go through those bends. Taking 2 more breaths wherever you are. You're going into bends, arriving in a high crescent lunge. And then we're going to drop the back foot down at an inward angle and open up to the other side of the room, Warrior 2. Coming back to those subtle alignments with the knee and the feet shifting, creating space along the neck. Still hugging the lower ribs in here. 2 breaths. 1. And then going through that Warrior 2 dance, coming into a wide-legged stance, lifting the arms up, entering Warrior 2 towards the back of the room. Rising up, wide-legged stance, arriving to the front, and using your breath to flow through like this. Drawing your mind to those subtle alignments. A point of focus. We'll all meet facing the front of the room. And as you face the front of the room, you can straighten at the left knee, shift the hips back, and head into a triangle pose, reaching forward with the front palm, lowering that arm down towards the inside of the leg, right arm up. Still gliding that tailbone down here, drawing the pit of the navel up to support you. 2 breaths. 1. And then it's windmill back up, entering a Warrior 2, bending at the front knee. And reversing your Warrior here, finding that side stretch, keeping that front knee bent. Inhale. And out breath, exhaling, coming down, framing the front foot, going through your optional flow. Nice. Once you've arrived in your down dog, enter a child's pose. Quick moment to rejuvenate. Catching your breath in this child's pose. Two more rounds here. Beginning to notice your pulse and heartbeat. And then we'll lift the gaze and make your way back into your downward facing dog. Nice. Arriving back in your down dog, taking 2 breaths as you inhale
And tongues out, lion's breath. One more rejuvenating lion's breath. Inhale. Exhale, tongues out. All right. From here, we're raising the right leg up again, three-legged dog. And then we're going to bring that knee towards the chest, hugging it in, pressing the mat away from you, bringing it closer towards the chest, and then planting that foot down. And now from this slow lunge, pick up the left foot to meet the right foot at the front of the mat. You're staying bent along the legs, connecting the big toes to touch in the knees. And in your seat, you're lifting the arms up, Utkatasana, chair pose. Really sending those hips down, keeping the spine lengthened. And just like in that warrior two, keeping those fingertips strong. Take a moment to hover in your seat a little deeper. Lift the arms a little higher. Inhale. Staying with an exhale. And now we're going to balance on all four corners of the right foot as we rise up, bringing the left knee towards the chest. Just finding your point of focus in front of you, finding your balance. And we'll go through connected hand to big toe pose. So from here, the right palm comes onto the right hip. And then pistol gripping the left toe. If you have a strap, this could be useful, connecting the strap towards the bottom of the foot. And now as you draw the shoulder blades back, peel the chest open, activate the core. You can extend that left leg out in front of you. Bend at the knee as much as you need to. Maybe that's all for tonight. Maybe you can open up that left leg towards the side of the room. Find space along the chest. Maybe you can let go of the right hip, extending the arm out towards the side of the room. 2 breaths. 1 breath. And now bringing that left knee back towards the chest as you lengthen the arms up towards the ceiling. Take an inhale, reaching. And with your exhale, moving into a warrior 3, hinging forward, extending that bent leg behind you, and really curling the toes behind you, pressing that invisible wall away from you. Making sure the hips are squared here, lifting along the torso, looking just ahead of the mat, finding your focus on the ground. Inhale, staying with an exhale. And now slowly bending at that front knee, lowering the back foot down at an inward angle, and opening up the arms into a warrior 2. Good breath out here. And shifting into an extended side angle as you reach forward with the front palm, elbow onto the thigh, left arm up and over, fingertips reaching the front of the room as you press against the outer edge of that back foot. 2 breaths. 1. Now stride away. We'll move straight into a reverse warrior, finding that side stretch. Inhaling. And then exhale, windmilling those arms down, going through your optional flow. Could be a one-legged flow, could still be push-ups. Finding what works for you. And now 2 deep breaths. 1. All right, other side to go. Let's raise that left leg up in the air, 3-legged dog. And then bending at the knee to bring the knee towards the chest, holding it here for a moment. And then planting that foot lightly in between the hands. And now from here, let's lift the right foot, bringing it to meet the left foot as you connect the big toes and the knees to touch and arrive in your chair pose. Finding your chair, hovering in your seat, lifting the ribs away from the thighs. Inhale. Staying with an exhale. And now balancing on all four corners of the left foot as you rise up slowly, shifting your point of focus, bringing the right knee towards the chest. From here, you can place the left hand onto the left hip, pistol grip the right toe, moving into your extended hand to big toe pose. Extending that leg forward and maybe opening it towards the side. Inhale and exhale. Bringing that knee back towards the chest, lifting the arms up, preparing for your warrior three with an in-breath, and then pivoting forward, hovering here. Could be different on this side, really micro bending at that front knee, using your glutes and your core here to lift that back leg. Inhale. And slowly bending at that front knee, dropping the back foot down at an inward angle, opening into a warrior two. Moving into that extended side angle pose as you shift forward, placing the elbow onto the thigh, right arm up and overhead. Keeping the elbow light on the thigh here. Most strength coming from the legs. Inhale. And staying here with an exhale. And now shifting and rotating right into a reverse warrior. And then windmilling down to go through a flow. Still hugging the elbows in. Lowering down with control. Lifting to expand. And landing in a downward facing dog. From here, just coming onto the knees, arriving on a seat. Just closing the eyes, placing the hands on the thighs. Couple of breaths. All right. So while I have you in a seat, I'll demonstrate the half moon pose. We've worked our hips, played around with some balancing, and I'm going to demonstrate this half moon pose before we all get into it. If you know half moon, please feel free to go ahead. Otherwise, the way I like to get into it is through an extended side angle. So I'm really shifting the feet here, finding my alignment, arriving in that extended side angle. And then I can start to place the left hand onto the left hip and then shift forward to place the right palm just towards the top of the right foot. So the top right part of the right foot. And then my gaze is just ahead of the mat as I come forward and lift that back leg off the ground. Sort of in a warrior three type position here. And then I can start to shift the gaze towards the side of the room. As I shift the gaze and find my drishti, my point of focus, I can start to rotate the body towards the side of the room. So that top hip is drawing back. The hovering foot is facing the side of the room, keeping those toes curled. Maybe I stay here. Maybe I can lift the top arm up. Still engaging the hips here, activating the glutes. Maybe you can grab onto that left foot, hooking the palm onto the foot, and then finding that stretch here. Taking as many breaths as you need, and then arriving back into a warrior two. All right, so if you haven't joined me, let's all get into it now. So we'll come into our extended side angle with the right knee at the front. And then, as we're in an extended side angle, first finding that alignment. And then shifting the gaze. Left hand onto the hip, right hand just ahead of the right foot. Using this to hover forward first. And then when your glutes and core active, you can shift the gaze towards the side of the room. Using this to rotate the body, the torso and the back foot. Maybe you can lift the arm up. Or maybe you could even hook the palm onto the ankle and find that deeper stretch here. Taking as many breaths as you need, and then arriving in a warrior two. And not forgetting to balance it with the other side as well. So once you're back into that warrior two, we'll switch over to an extended side angle with the left knee at the front this time. Coming into that extended side angle. Right hand on the hip. Shifting the gaze. Reaching forward, placing that hand down, hovering up. Notice what it's like on this leg. Could be completely different on this side. Taking a couple of breaths wherever you are. And then coming back. Once you're done and you've come back, just arriving in a seat again, facing the front of the mat. Letting go of whatever just happened. Taking a deep breath in, closing the eyes. And a sigh out. One more breath, drawing your mind back to the mat, to the present moment. And release. All right. Now from here, we'll go into a recline hero's pose. Just releasing the legs. So the recline hero's pose, you're placing the sitting bones down onto the ground. And then the feet are just stationed next to the hips. You can sort of create space along the calves. Comfortable here. And maybe that's enough for today. So really observing what's happening with the knees here. We want to avoid any pain along the knees. And so if you want to go deeper, you can start to place the forearms behind you. Again, just observing the kneecaps. And if you want to go deeper, you can completely lay down, arms up and overhead. Just taking a few deep breaths here. Two more breaths. And then placing the forearms back down if you're all the way down. Slowly arriving up, just taking care of the knees. Could be a little soft now. You come onto one hip, extending the legs out in front of you. And slowly you could start to just shake at the legs.
And now moving into a seated forward fold. Lift the arms up, lengthening along the spine. And then folding forward from the hips. Crown of the head reaches forward and down. Two more breaths. And then slowly lifting back up, creating space along the mat, shifting the arms in front, and vertebrae by vertebrae, making your way down. Now for this next pose, I'm going to leave it up to you. There are many options that we can take before we enter a Shavasana, but a few options I can suggest is a bridge, or you can go into a reclined twist with me, or you could open up the hips, moving into a reclined pigeon. If you're coming into a twist, you can bring the knees towards the chest, lengthening out the arms towards the side of the room. The knees come towards the left, gaze towards the right. Just taking 3 breaths here. If you're following me in a reclined twist, shifting over to the other side, or wherever you are, balancing your movements in opposite directions. Once you've settled in, taking 3 breaths. And then coming back to the center, you can all enter a happy baby pose here. Grabbing onto the backs of the feet, knees towards the armpits, and opening up the legs. Give your lower body a massage. Find your variation here. Maybe it's extending one leg or bending the other. Taking one more deep breath here. And then bringing the knees towards the chest, hugging it all in here. Taking one inhalation. And exhale to release, entering your Shavasana. Completely letting go. Settling in here. For the next few moments, I'm going to go through a guided meditation. If you'd like to stay in your Shavasana, in silence and in stillness, please feel free to stop any music and release this footage and hopefully see you next week. Otherwise, you can stay in your Shavasana with me, stopping any music, or coming into a seated meditation. Slowly taking a few breaths to arrive in a seat. Grabbing a block again if you need to. And wherever you are, just simply observing the breath. few moments to simply marinate in this clarity and stillness. A few moments to yield the benefits of this vinyasa practice. And just simply following the sound of your breath to begin. Noticing how deep or shallow the breath is. You may pick up sounds from your external environment along the way. Probably closer to you or further out. Just fixating on this external environment. If any thoughts come along the way, it's all good. Just simply drawing the mind back to the breath and fixating on that external environment. A few deeper breaths here. Noticing this external layer of the present moment. And now starting to focus on the outer shell of your physical body. Noticing any skin, noticing any subtle sensations along the body as you draw your attention to the crown of the head and start to make your way down along this outer shell. As you make your way down, you're softening along the facial features. Feeling any material of the mat and of your clothes. And still breathing through each and every observation. Couple more deep breaths here, focusing on this outer shell. Drawing on the subtle sensations of the current moment. And then we start to move internally now. Noticing the ligaments and the bones and the muscles. Noticing this inner layer of the current moment. As you navigate from the feet right back up slowly to the crown of the head. And as you breathe, paying attention to that pulse and that heartbeat, tuning in to this internal layer. Eventually making your way to the space between your eyebrows. And just drawing your attention to this space, this expansive space. Perhaps noticing any colors, any shape. Noticing this space with every breath. Inhaling, exhaling into this space. And now, with every breath, simply bringing in all of the current moment together. Inhaling and exhaling through each and every layer of the current moment. Coming back to the bones and the ligaments and the muscles. Taking a breath in here. And release. Bringing your attention to that outer shell, to the subtle sensations along the body. Inhale. And exhale. Becoming aware of your external environment. A stream of breath in here. And a stream of breath out. And with every breath, drawing your mind to the layers and eventually arriving into that space between the eyebrows. Slowly arriving within, layer by layer. Inhaling and exhaling through this layer, this expansiveness. Two more deep breaths. And now, going through these layers again, and eventually paying attention to your external surroundings. moving with the pace of your breath. Becoming aware of your sounds around you. Becoming aware of the sound of your breath. Taking a deep inhalation here. And a sigh out. Start to slowly flutter the eyes open, taking your time, introducing light. Start to look around you, noticing any objects, becoming aware of the space around you. Creating small movements along the neck, along the wrist, along the torso, creating twist. And then lowering the gaze and connecting the hands in front of the heart. Thanking yourselves for arriving onto the mat today and the energy of everyone connected around you. Namaste. Thanks all. See you next time.